Good morning. Thank you, Tony. And Tony's so silly because she did all of the amazing work on behalf of the Mission Continues. But she said, you flew in from St. Louis, so you take the microphone. And I said, that's just silliness. But I do want to say good morning and thank you all so much. It is a pleasure to be here. And on behalf of the staff at our national headquarters in St. Louis, thank you guys so much. We're just could not be more excited to partner with the Home Depot Foundation and with all of you here today. Tony already recognized all the amazing veterans in the audience. So just a couple of quick things about the Mission Continues. If you don't know, the Mission Continues is the only national nonprofit organization that's uniquely dedicated to helping post 9/11 veterans rebuild their sense of purpose once they return from active duty. So if you're a veteran here today, we hope that you leave feeling more connected to your community and feeling like you have an excellent role to play here. And if you're a veteran supporter, we hope that you leave with a greater appreciation for our men and women in uniform and their incredible service both abroad and in our communities.
All right, so let's talk about Home Depot and how we ended up with this project. In May, captains across the country were on a conference call, and the company came up with the shirts that you're wearing and our logo of Celebration of Service. We, in the next 2 months, across the United States, are going to hit 24 cities and do 24 projects that are relevant and important to our military, our communities, and those that serve it. If you've seen on my apron, click on there on the Celebration of Service. It talks about what we as a company are standing for, and also this is in memory of the 10th year anniversary of September 11th. We are the first city up. So in May, when I was on that conference call, I kept saying, please pick our city, please pick our city. Because there's a lot of cities across the country, and we should all be honored and excited that we were chosen to be able to represent and to do this phenomenal project for a great organization. So congratulations to our city. Once we found out about that, then I was like, oh my goodness, now we got to find something. And truly, the Mission Continues. Tony was a great avenue. We all met together, and we also met with a company called Rebuild America. Rebuild America was the one that helped us find the DAV. And when we walked here and we met Brad and Butch and Jim and Ray and a lot of these folks, it was just, we knew it was the right fit. And we knew it was a fit when we walked in the building and we seen what kind of repairs and things that needed to be done. So 2 projects that we're actually doing here for the DAV. One is today's project. Y'all should be proud we're putting about $13,000 worth of renovations into the building today. So that's an awesome feat for our company. More importantly, when we got here, and you'll see inside the ceiling tiles, there's leaking. In the auxiliary room, that's probably where the biggest mess is because they had a lot of roof leaks. Our company has donated another $10,000 to help them get the roof repaired. So another congratulations to our company. And for those of you that have not met Ty yet, so Ty, please raise your hand back there. Ty is our corporate sponsor. He's the one that I've been working directly with, and through Ty and the Missions Continues, they're the ones that have approved all the grant dollars and the grant money. So once we found our facility, the next feat was to come in and actually figure out what we needed to do. And that's where I want to recognize all the captains that are back here behind me. You guys, they have spent numerous hours in time walking the building, making their work list, determining what needed to get done. You should be proud of who represents your stores. I said this to Kurt a couple of weeks ago. We could not pick a better group of dedicated departments and teams that work on the Team Depot committees to help us with today's project. So thank you, every one of you. Thank you. So that's why we're here. We are the first kickoff. We are the first store. We are the first city to actually be participating. And then what we get to do from here on in, from now till December 12th is when the last project will be done, is just watch my apron and see all this great work happening across our country. So with that to be said, I would like to introduce Brad, and he is actually the commander of the building, and kind of tell you a little bit about what the building actually does. So.
Chris, I'd like to go off program a minute and invite Butch up here a minute. Come on up, Butch. This young man has gone well above and beyond Call of Duty here. He has slept here. He has lived here for 24 hours a day for the last like 5 days or so. He's all through this process. He's been in close contact with Chris and Tony and just dealt with all the minute details and everything. I can't say thank you enough to Butch as a chapter member. Thank you. Thank you, Butch. As an organization of volunteers, we know and understand the importance and the dedication it takes to volunteer your time and talents to help other people out. We do appreciate it. It is recognized, and as a chapter building here, I want to say thank you very, very much for being here, helping us out. At the beginning of this, when Tony and Chris approached us with the possibility of this event, I was kind of quiet. Butch was handling everything, indicating what we needed done, wanted done, hoped to get done, prayed for, and everything else. But and during the organizational gatherings they had with the team captains back here, Tony told me, breathe, it's going to get done. Breathe, it's going to happen. So, Tony, I think I'm breathing today. I think I'm breathing today, okay? Just so you guys understand, many of the projects that you're going to do, we know about. They've been on our wish list, dream list, to-do list for years, years, and years. Either because of lack of physical ability, finances, or whatever, we've had to postpone them, delay them, and it was getting to the point, and we knew it, that we were going to have to make some hard decisions about resources. Do we curtail what we do for veterans and put them into the building, or do we continue to let the building fall apart? So this has been a big blessing for us that everything came together at the right time for us. Appreciate it. Talking to some of the team leaders back here during the organizational meetings, they had heard about the DAV as a national organization. We were chartered in 1920 as a national organization. Then that was right after World War I. Then the chapter was chartered at the end of World War II in 1945. So we have been in Orlando helping the community out and the veterans since 1945 here. So, and we've been in this building since 1962, which is going on 50 years. So the building needs a little TLC, a little attention paid to it. But everybody sees what we do as an organization in the community, as far as we're open 2 days a week to do claims work to help with disability claims or pension claims, and help the dependents file survivor benefit claims and so on and so forth, home loans, whatever. So we have the paperwork inside and we assist folks on Tuesdays and Thursdays. What you don't see is our involvement with the homeless veterans in the area. We pay for their nights in the rescue mission, buy them bus passes. If they accept assignment to the domiciliary up in the VA clinic, we purchase some clothes, either new or used, clean used ones, help with entertainment. And if you don't know what the domiciliary is, it's a kind of a rehab facility to help these veterans get a second or third chance to be productive in society again. So it's a very important place. We're also involved in the Community Living Center, which is a VA nursing home. So we hold a monthly bingo birthday party. We hold an annual barbecue. They love the barbecue. It's not nursing home food for a day, so they love that. We do a lot of fundraising. Everything we do, we have to do fundraising for. We don't receive any government funding, outside funding of any kind. We have to generate it ourselves with our volunteers here. So we're busy. I look at our group of volunteers in 3 different categories. We have a core group of volunteers down here at this building. They typically put in several hundred hours a month on a volunteer basis doing something for veterans in the area. Service work, obviously, taking veterans to their medical appointments, taking veterans to the grocery store, doing fundraising. We have a good core down here contributing those few hundred hours each and every month. There's a second group that DAV has of volunteers out at the hospital. I'm proud to say we have over 100 DAV volunteers out at the hospital that contribute more than 2,000 to 3,000 hours a month helping the hospital out. So everywhere from the information desk when you first walk in to each and every clinic to just every floor of the hospital out there. The third group of volunteers are our DAV transportation drivers. They get up early, they stay up late, they transport veterans to and from their medical doctor's appointments and treatment. They play a very, very important role for veterans. It's and that's one of our big fundraising functions throughout the year, is we save our pennies and nickels and dimes that we collect from fundraising, and we purchase vans. Vans are not cheap. You're looking at $20,000 or better for each individual one. It takes a little while to collect that money. We purchase a van, we turn it over to the VA, and then working with the VA, we come up with the volunteer drivers. So it's a big deal for us. But they drive thousands and thousands of miles a month picking veterans up. But we're the chapter and our core volunteers down here. We go to retirement seminars, we go to disability seminars, we go to homecomings, and when the reserve units deploy, we are, I like to say, Chapter 16 is alive and well and active in the community. The last 4 or 5 years, we've slowly grown our membership. We were 4 or 5 years ago, we were the 5th largest, and the 4th largest, and the 3rd largest, the 2nd largest. Maybe 6, 8 months ago, we became the largest chapter in the state of Florida. So, and we're proud of that. So, and I'm proud to say the gap between 1 and 2 is growing. So, again, Chapter 16 out of this little building here is very active, very alive, and very well. We've been around since 1945 in the community, and with your help today, we'll probably be around another 50 years out of this building. So again, it's appreciated. So if you have any questions about joining any of the vets, please do. If you want to get involved and volunteer down here, we would appreciate it outside of this event. So, and if you see any of us walking around, have a question for us, don't hesitate to ask us. Yeah, I get the honor of introducing the next member. I could introduce him as a past chapter commander of this building. I could introduce him as a past state of Florida commander. I could introduce him as a past national commander of the 1.2 million member organization, but I'm not going to. I could introduce him as a true American war hero, a veteran's veteran, and a strong advocate of veterans' rights, but I'm not going to. I simply want to introduce my friend, Jim Sursely.
Geez, for a guy that wasn't too accustomed to public speaking, he did a hell of a job, didn't he? Good morning to all of you, and thank you all for being here. I want to extend my thanks and warm welcome from the DAV to Home Depot and the Mission Continues, and believe me, we know what volunteerism is all about, and I know Brad already touched on that. What they asked me to do today was, I guess maybe I'm sort of a typical, if you would, disabled American veteran. In January 11th, 1969, I stepped on a landmine in Vietnam, and I suffered the traumatic amputation of both of my legs and my left arm. The blast was so strong that I went to the hospital on the dust-off helicopter, just about the way you see me now. I spent 3 days at the 95th Evac Hospital in Da Nang. I spent 5 weeks at the 106 General Hospital in Yokohama, Japan, and then flew back to the United States and spent another 9 months at Fitzsimmons General Hospital in Aurora, Colorado, where basically there what I did was occupational therapy for use of my artificial arm, a prosthesis that I used to drive a car with, Tried to use prosthesis for the lower extremities, and it's just not a feasible situation that you can do comfortably and get around and try to be an active participant in life the rest of your life. So I just chose not to wear any of those things. And of course, in Florida, when it's 96 degrees, it's not fun to wear any of them at all because you just sweat a lot wearing them. But one of the big things that I did, the smartest thing I probably ever did, and that was in November in 1970, I joined the Disabled American Veterans. I was back in my hometown of Rochester, Minnesota, and they invited me. They were starting a brand new chapter, Mayo Chapter 28. And I didn't know anything about the DAV. All of us had heard about the VFW, the American Legion. My dad was a World War II veteran and participated in both of those other organizations. I spent a little bit of time there in Rochester, and I got a job offer to move to Florida in 1971. And with all the snow and cold and architectural barriers that places in the Midwest had, it was just a natural fit for me to move to Florida, where it was flat, level ground, and as new buildings went up, very few architectural barriers for me to get around. So it's been a wonderful fit for me to be here in Central Florida. But I know more than got here, and I looked up in the phone book where the local DAV chapter was. At that time, Seminole Chapter 30 was closest to where I lived in Maitland, so I was a member down there for 24 years, transferred up here to Central Florida Chapter 16 about 14 or 15 years ago. I think I'm on year number 41 at this point in time in the DAV. And one of the big things that it's done for me is it's a group or a place where I can go and be around fellow disabled veterans who have already experienced many of the same things I'm going to experience as my life goes on. The opportunity to ask questions, get questions answered, not just with claims representation, but just with life in general. I mean, that's the big thing. It's not a matter of whether or not you're going to get your benefits or what's going to come out of that, but what does life have in store for you from that point on? I mean, what you want is, you want to live just like everybody else does. And for me, obviously, a big concern was whether or not I would ever be married, would I ever have a family, you know, would I have a job, would I have a challenge in life, something that would make life enriching and rewarding for me. Well, I was blessed to have the opportunity to marry a wonderful woman. My wife Jeannie is currently the auxiliary commander here at this chapter. She's with grandchildren this morning on a school project, so she couldn't be here. We've had 4 great kids, 3 sons and a daughter. Grandchild number 11 was just born at Fort Stewart, Georgia on the 6th of September, so I'll be broke again this Christmas. But you know, it's just, and all of that sounds normal. I guess that's the number one key. When I explain that to you, that sounds like any other 63-year-old man's normal existence. And that's what makes the DAV so special. You take someone who suffered the loss of 2 legs and an arm, associate with the DAV, have the opportunity to find someone that will marry you and love you, and life becomes normal. And that's what the DAV is all about. Our 1.2 million members reach out across the country every single day to try to do that same thing for our young men and women coming back currently from Iraq and Afghanistan and other difficult places where we're serving around the country. So that's my story of what the DAV means to me. Many times I would get ready to go to a meeting and my kids would say, "Where are you going?" And I'd say, "Well, I got a meeting tonight." And they'd say, "Well, why do you go to that old junk?" But you know, the opportunity to associate with these folks like we've got here from the DAV is my chance to give something back for a group that's done so much for me. I wouldn't miss a meeting if I'm in town. Nothing could keep me from showing up for the monthly meeting. It's just very, very important to come and give back something to this organization. I don't want to take any more of your time. I can't thank you enough. Again, I've probably been around as long as anybody that's currently a member of this chapter. To reiterate what Brad has talked about, we've looked at maybe we should paint the inside of the building. We've said, why don't we wait till next month? Well, next month came and went, and that was probably 10 years ago. And I've always said, gee, I don't know, it looks good to me. What are we doing in the service department? What are we doing at the VA hospital? So we just chose to put our finances and our resources where we can reach out and touch the lives of other veterans and their families, because that's what our mission is. That's what we're all about. You're here to take care of those things we put off for a long, long time. God bless each and every one of you for being here today to help us do that. And just like Brad mentioned, I'm sure we'll be around for another 50 years with just a little bit prettier building to do it out of. Thank you all so much for coming. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless America.
Okay, I said I wasn't going to cry during all of this, and the last time we had this conversation, I was crying in the auxiliary room, and then one of the other World War II veterans started crying, and then he's like, okay, Chris is the only one allowed to cry in the room. Everybody else stopped crying. Thank you, Jim, so much.
Thanks.